Hello, YouTube. My name is Jim with God's 411. How are you doing? We are going to start to do a live Q&A because we've had people ask us to do a live Q&A. So we run a large, pretty good sized Facebook page, and I answer. My name's Jim, and I'm the page administrator over there, and I answer quite a few questions, and we can just get a rash of just questions of people questioning their faith. They don't understand. I mean, just tons, and it just almost seems like one of the overall themes is people are always questioning, why is God mean? And it's really hard to answer that, and I will tell you why. So anyways, if you are watching, there's probably a few of you out there. I know we're not huge yet, but just, comment, say hi. We'd like to get to know everybody and get to know our followers as we build up. So it depends. See, their view of God is that he's a mean God. And just so to kind of break it down, if I were to think you're a mean person, it doesn't matter what anybody said. I mean, my preconceived concept about you would be that you're a mean person. And I believe through, a series of events or things that are happening in their life. I mean, their child dies, they get sick, they get cancer. And we as humans want to blame someone. I mean, we just want to put the blame on something because it's hard for us as humans to just say, just because we don't like to accept that. It's not okay for us to say, just because, right? So we want to blame somebody. So through a series of events, they put the blame on God. And so all of a sudden, God becomes this mean God who's causing these bad things to happen. So first, your view of God has to be open. And I always tell the people, how do you view God? And, they're really hesitant because deep down inside, they do think that God is a mean God. They have a preconceived concept. And if you start to change your mind, and this, when I tell people this, and if they can grasp the concept of this, they become much more happier that God is a good God. We live in a fallen world. I mean, we live in a world where bad things happen. And I think that people are looking to Christianity or religion to live a pain-free life or a suffering-free life, and it doesn't exist. So if you can tell yourself that God is good, and I know that's hard because if you're in the middle of cancer, or you're sick, or you're divorced, or you're going through bankruptcy, or your financial problems, it's really hard to say God is good because, I mean, if he's a loving God and he loves me, why is this happening? I mean, why is he allowing this to happen? And I have not a lot of experience, but I've been sick for 13 years, really struggled with the fact of being sick. We lost our son to suicide. So a lot of things have happened in our life. But all through that, if you tell yourself that God is good, and I don't understand it, and you don't have to understand it, and probably most of the things you never will understand until you get to heaven, because there's a lot of things that I don't get, I don't understand, and it would drive me nuts and frustrate me to try to figure out why, that eternal why question. So there's some things you won't get. And you don't have to like it. I mean, when you're going through pain and suffering, just because there's a good God doesn't mean that you have to like what's going on. I mean, when we were dealing with a lot of stuff in our life, I tell people, I would just be honest with God. And I would just say, hey, I don't like what you're doing. I have a problem with what you're doing. I'm really upset this really hurts what you're doing. Why are you doing it? And sometimes I would find peace about it, and sometimes I don't. So, just always I tell people that ask this, just tell yourself that God is a good God. And you're not going to understand everything. You just never will. But if you just always remind yourself he's good. I don't get it. I don't like it. I want it to end in a hurry. But just tell yourself, whatever it is, it's good. And if you keep on telling yourself that, life becomes easier because you stop wrestling with the answer of why, and all of a sudden this mean God becomes an okay God, and your grid shift starts to change. And there are two examples everybody likes to use, like the Old Testament. As for the Old Testament God, the fire and brimstone type of God that is down and getting you and stuff like that, and bad, and is out to destroy everything. There's two verses that just kind of show that, and I won't read the verses, but they're in Genesis 18:16 through 33, and basically it just says that in this instance God is just going to destroy Sodom because they just weren't. We were created to serve God, and our purpose is to serve God. So they were not doing that. They were not serving their purpose. So God's ready to destroy him, and Abraham just pleads with God. And they go back and forth, and God just keeps on giving in. So it's just evident that God is just that good God, and that he loves you. And that, Abraham didn't like what was going on, and so he pleaded with God and he begged with God, and God let him have his way all the way up until they started, well, there's 50 people, please don't destroy it. And God says, okay. And Abraham worked God down to 10. And same God is the same God that today. I mean, we always put those guys on a pedestal. They're not. They're just like us, same emotion, same everything. And we are serving the same God as back then. The other one is in 2 Samuel 24. I mean, David sinned again. God was upset, and Nathan had his seer come to him and said, hey, you know what? There's 3 choices that you can make. Choose, what your punishment is. And Nathan chose. David chose, and God started to put a plague out on the thing. But God saw that people were suffering, and he stopped it. He just stopped it. Nobody asked him. He just loved the people, and he saw the suffering, and he stopped it. So there's a lot more examples of that in the Bible, just on and on. But the message today from a Q&A, when people ask, why is God mean or bad? He's not, and we will never understand everything that's going on, because in life you're looking at just your little keyhole in life. You're looking at this little keyhole, and there's something bigger than you or I that's seen everything. And so maybe your bad is someone other's good, and it's just hard to do that. So again, I just tell the people, try to get your grid shift, your mind shift, that God is good. And again, most people that say that God is a mean God, they have that preconceived concept that God is not a good God. And it's really hard to break someone's shell and tell that there's a good God when they have that. So just, God is good. Just keep on telling yourself, explore that. I know there's probably Christians, a lot of people that are watching that's not Christians. I would love your comments. I would love your view. So the comment, okay? Everybody comment. Do you think God is good, or is he mean, or what is your view of God? Christians, non-Christians, doesn't matter. I would just like everybody's a comment. So anyways, subscribe, and we're going to be going live more and more with questions and answers. Love you guys, and would love to have you a part of God's 401 family. All right, see you later.